As South Korea becomes the key arms supplier to US allies, its best consumer is on the edge of the warzone. Polish soldiers rise the South Korea made the K2 Black Panther tank during a practice in Braniewo, Poland on June 24, 2025. So South Korea CNN, Poland has finalized the deal to acquire a second batch of 180 South Korean tanks under a 2022 agreement that will eventually see Warsaw boost its arsenal with almost 1,000 of their armored vehicles. The deal underlines the Poland's emergence as the substantial European military force as well as South Korea's status as a major arms supplier, especially to US allies as wars around the world exhaust American stockpiles. It comes as Russia ramped up attacks on Ukraine, some of which have come within 100 miles of Polish territory on Ukraine's western border. Warsaw has been increasing defense spending since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, acquiring new weaponry, while also helping Kiev with its defense. As the NATO member bordering Ukraine, each seen part of the alliance's first line of defense should Russian leader Vladimir Putin decide to expand his aggression beyond Ukraine. Poland's defense ministry announced the tank deal, which still needs to be formally signed, in a post on social media platform X earlier this month. It puts the price tag at $6.7 billion and said that includes 80 support vehicles, ammunition, and logistics and training packages for the Polish army. The deal for the K2 main battle tanks, regarded as among the world's most powerful, includes a unit to be made in South Korea by defense giant Hyundai Rotem, and the establishment of the production line in Poland for the Polish variant, the K2PL, according to the South Korea's Defense Acquisition Program Administration, called the DAPA, which oversees Seoul's foreign military sales. A K9 Thunder self-propelled howitzer tanks takes part in the Armed Forces Day military parade in Warsaw, Poland on August 15, 2023. The 60th batch of 180 tanks will be built in Poland, the Polish Defense Ministry's post on X said. The first 30 of the South Korea-made tanks included in the new contract are expected to arrive in Poland next year, it said. In 2022, the two countries signed a deal for Poland to get 180 K2s. But about 45 of those have been delivered, within the remainder expected to arrive in Poland by the end of the year, Hyundai Rotem said. That framework was considered South Korea's biggest overseas defense deal ever. It included a total of 980 K2s, 648 self-propelled K9 armed howitzers, and 48 FA-50 fighter jets, the Polish Defense Ministry said at the time. The ministry said there are armored vehicles would in part replace the Soviet-era tanks that Poland has donated to Ukraine to use in its fight against Russia. A March report from the Wilson Center based in Washington, D.C. said Poland has given Ukraine more than 300 tanks and more than 350 infantry fighting vehicles and armored personnel carriers. Poland has been on edge in recent days after Russia ramped up drone attacks on Ukraine. A Russian drone barrage against the northwest Ukrainian city of Lutsk was so intense it caused Warsaw to scramble fighter jets as the precaution. Lutsk is about 50 miles from the Polish border. A NATO report from April cited Polish effort to dramatically increase the defense spending in the face of the Russian threat. Warszawa's defense spending has grown from 2.7% of GDP in 2022 to the expected 4.7% in 2025, according to the report. Of all NATO allies, it spends the highest percentage of its GDP on defense, the NATO report said. It noted Poland's purchase of South Korea arms to quickly fill gaps left by donations to Ukraine. The Wilson Center report said Poland has arguably emerged as Europe's most capable military power. But a May report from the Rand Corp think tank expressed caution over the financing of Poland's arms buildup. Many of its purchases are financed through direct loans from countries supplying equipment, Lenz said, adding, if securing such loans proves impossible, market financing might be too expensive to turn framework agreement into binding contract. Rand also said Poland faces recruitment challenges, needing to increase the troops' strength by almost 50% in the next 10 years. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and Poland President Andrzej Duda greet each other as they arrived for their meeting outside Mariinsky Palace in Kiev, Ukraine on June 28, 2025. Meanwhile, South Korea has emerged as the world's 10th largest arms exporter over the past 5 years, according to the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute. Over the span, Poland has received 46% of South Korean military export, followed by the Philippines at 14% and India at 7%, according to the CPRI's Trends in International Arms Transfers 2024 report. As the war in Ukraine has dragged on, as well as Israel's war in Gaza, U.S. military aid for Ukraine and Israel has drained its arms stockpiles. South Korea is therefore increasingly seen as the option for U.S. allies in need of weapons, according to a 2024 report from the DC-based Stimson Center. And the Seoul's arms industry may become important to Washington in the future, the report said. Increased South Korean defense industrial base capacity, particularly in arms and shipbuilding, has the potential to directly support the United States, the report said. Shipbuilding is seen as the particular area of South Korean military industrial strength, and Washington has already seen contracts for maintenance of U.S. Navy supply ships go to South Korean yard as the Navy grapples with the backlog in U.S. shipyard. Along with the K-2 tanks, South Korea has spent 174 K-9 Howitzers to Poland under the 2022 framework, with 38 remaining to be delivered, according to contractor Hanwha Aerospace. A second tranche of 152 K-9s is in the works, Hanwha said. Over the 48 FA-50 jet ordered, only 12 have been sent to so far, according to manufacturer Korean Aerospace Industries.